But that's not unprecedented. But having him at the table in the Situation Room, giving him a vote on what the American foreign policy, should be, that is actually unprecedented. And then, Chris, as you say, it's just very odd, that it's hard to imagine a national security challenge today that doesn't require input from the Director of National Intelligence or the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But you put those two together, and they're just very baldly saying that politics is going to be significantly driving American foreign policy for the next 4 years.
Can you remember a situation, PJ? Because people do get frozen out, and you talk to people in the White House, and sometimes feelings are hurt because you're not in a meeting or you're not informed of something. But when you have what is essentially a policy that is a major departure from the way things are run, and people who are at the head of agencies who will be charged with implementing it find out essentially after the fact or while it's happening. Have you ever experienced anything quite like that?
Well, certainly there's a dynamic between policy and politics. Heck, if you go back to Vietnam, you can't understand how Lyndon Johnson fought the Vietnam War, without understanding the dynamic between, how he fought that war and his concern about the Great Society. And Richard Nixon, came into office in 1972 or 1968 saying, I have a secret plan to end the Vietnam War. And you see the dynamic between President Bush and President Obama. Obama was the reaction to the overreach in Iraq, and so. Politics sets the parameters under which foreign policy is undertaken. But that said, obviously, there's going to be, among other things, a real process problem here. That normally, the combination of national security policy and fitting that within the political parameters of the moment, that's the job of the National Security Advisor. And the risk here is that you now create, tension and dueling power centers within the White House, and that's not necessarily going to serve the president well.
And we're only 9-10 days in. PJ Crowley, always good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
And we've actually got some good news to report. The former president, George H.W. Bush, has been discharged from the hospital. His spokesman says Bush 41, as he is known, appreciates everyone's prayers and good wishes during his stay at Houston Methodist. The 92-year-old former president was admitted on January 14th, being treated for pneumonia. We are sure Barbara is happy to have him home, as we are all wishing him even better health. Coming up, was the communication and execution of the immigration executive order a disaster? Former DNC Communications Director Karen Finney, who also worked in the Clinton White House, will join me next. We're also, of course, waiting for the press secretary, Sean Spicer, to hold his daily press briefing minutes from now. Stay with us. You're going to want to see that one live.
Stephanie Ruhle and I are having a lot of trouble getting through this hour without crying about Mary Tyler Moore. Mary Tyler Moore is the only woman that we saw on TV when we were little who wasn't a wife and a mom. And not that those aren't amazing things to be, but to see that beautiful, sassy, butt-kicking career woman from when we were little. I mean, it just means so much to see her now. It does.
We have to talk about the Dow.
There's only one egg that just tastes better, fresher, more flavorful, delicious. Only one egg with better nutrition, like more vitamins D, E, and omega-3s, and 25% less saturated fat.
Only one egg good enough for my family.
Because why have ordinary when you can have the best?
Eggland's best. The only egg that gives you so much more. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Everything your family touches sticks with them. Make sure the germs they bring home don't stick around. Use Clorox disinfecting products, because no one kills germs better than Clorox.
If you have Medicare Parts A and B and want more coverage, guess what? You can apply for a Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan whenever you want. No enrollment window, no waiting to apply. That means now may be a great time to shop for an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Medicare doesn't cover everything, and like all standardized Medicare Supplement Insurance plans, these help cover some of what Medicare doesn't pay. So don't wait. Call now to request your free decision guide. It could help you find the AARP Medicare Supplement plan that works for you. These types of plans have no networks. so you get to choose any doctor who accepts Medicare patients. Rates are competitive, and they're the only plans of their kind endorsed by AARP. Remember, these plans let you apply all year round. So call today, because now's the perfect time to learn more. Go long.
But Grandma, we use Charmin Ultra Soft, so we don't have to wad to get clean.
Charmin Ultra Soft gets you clean without the wasteful wadding. It has comfort cushions you can see that are softer and more absorbent, and you can use up to 4 times less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
So frustrated. I just want to find a used car without getting ripped off.
You could start your search at the allnewcarfax.com.
That might help. Show me the Carfax.
Now the car you want and the history you need are easy to find.
Show me used trucks with one owner.
Pretty cool.
Show me the Carfax.
Start your used car search and get free Carfax reports at the allnewcarfax.com.
The travel ban has had several, we assume, unintended consequences, and it seems that the White House did not consider them. For example, that caused turmoil for 109 travelers who were detained for hours. An Oscar nominee, Asghar Farhadi, might not be able to attend the Oscars because of the ban. A Boston scientist was stopped over the weekend. A 75-year-old Iranian grandmother with a green card was separated from her family. She was released yesterday.
Yeah, she has a green card. She's had a green card since 1997.
Since 1997.
Yes, that's not new. You made that sign?
It's so wrong.
Yeah, this is my sign.
If you could say something now to the people in America, what would you say?
You had college and university presidents coming out against this. The Department of Homeland Security now working to make sure everybody understands what's going on. They say they're committed to ensuring the legal rights of all those affected. Karen Finney was a spokesperson for Hillary Clinton's campaign, served as communications director at the DNC. Hey, Karen, good afternoon.
Hey, Chris.
You also worked in the Clinton White House. I worked in the Obama White House.
Yep.
Something happened on Sunday that normally would have happened on Friday in past administrations, which is, and it's a good thing, they organized a call with senior administration officials who are involved in all of this, and they brief the press so that as we're doing our stories, we have a sense of it. Now, in this case, obviously, it happened a couple of days later, but the overarching message, and there was a big headline in several newspapers, that this is a massive success story in its implementations. Give me your take on it as somebody who's worked on the inside.
Sure. Well, I mean, it was a debacle, right? I mean, I think it absolutely undermines, just the chaos that we saw over the weekend, I think undermines this argument that Donald Trump is trying to make that, he's this great businessman who knows how to get things done and, can execute smoothly. Obviously, Trump, and I'm sure in a few moments, Sean Spicer are going to tell us all the alternate facts about why it was such a success. But I think what we saw on the ground was that it was a disaster, particularly given what I'm hearing and what's been reported, that as people on the ground who were dealing with people either getting on planes in other countries or arriving in this country didn't know who to call to figure out what the parameters were. But Chris, here's the flip side of it. I mean, on the one hand, yes, it undermines his argument as somebody who can get things done, and it was a calamity and all of that. But on the other hand, politically speaking, it was a great success for Donald Trump, and that is because he got the headlines, the initial headlines he wanted, and that is to his base.